My name is Philippe Bonneau. I am Technical Marketing Manager for Advanced Steel at Autodesk. And I am coming from Paris in France. And today I would like to give you some tips and tricks. So I would like to give you as much as possible in 1 hour. So it's quite a big challenge. And what I would like to do is to explain some tips and tricks and to demonstrate them. So I will use my PowerPoint deck and I will do some quick live demonstration for the different features. So the target today is to provide you some tips and tricks, how to improve your productivity, how to work smarter, I would say, rather than harder. And we will cover these tips and tricks through different topics that I grouped here. So first I would like to share with you some tips and tricks to customize the user interface, to speed up a little bit the way you are using the advanced steel tools. Then I will provide some tools and tips for the 3D modeling, because as you may know, with advanced steel we first create a 3D model. And then we will create the documentation from this 3D model. So I will give you again some tips and tricks to help speed up the creation of the documentation. And then we will see how some of the new features from the latest release can help you also to speed up your productivity. So I'm just a little bit curious, how many of you are already using advanced steel in the room? Okay, so I will say half of you, okay. So I just this first slide for people who don't really know what is advanced steel to explain you what does advanced steel and what are the benefits and added value it provides to you as a user. So advanced steel is what we call a structural steel detailing software. It's working on the top of AutoCAD, so you can recognize through the ribbon advanced steel is fully integrated AutoCAD, so we have familiarity between the commands. And this is the same way we create a model as we use AutoCAD. I mean, when we draw a line in AutoCAD, we model a beam in the same way in advanced steel. So in advanced steel, we have a huge library, a huge catalog of connections, of beams, of plates, of grating. And the objects are intelligent objects, so they have properties. It's easy to know at any time what is the length, what is the weight, what is the painting area. And we can connect them together thanks to steel connections. So for that, advanced steel provide a huge library of automatic and parametric steel connections. You can see some example here. I will come back more in details later. So it's really easy to insert, it's easy to modify thanks to a really user-friendly dialog box. And once you have created the steel connections, at any time you can run a collision check also. You can verify if in your 3D model there is some interferences between the elements. So advanced steel will tell you, for example, if there is a collision between a stiffener and a bolt, or between a base plate and a column, things like that. So of course the target is to reduce to 0 the number of collisions so that there are no issues at the shop and on the field. As you can see, you can use the different visual styles from AutoCAD. So you can work in wireframe, but you can work also with a realistic visual style or hidden lines. You can use the AutoCAD materials. You can assign them to the object or to the layer. You can use all the navigation tools from AutoCAD to navigate through your 3D model. So what is important from this 3D model? We are going to create the documentation. I will explain you what we can get automatically. But this 3D model can be also exported to other Autodesk software. We are able to export this model to Revit, and we can also import a Revit model to Advanced Steel, and we can even synchronize the changes between the two software. We can also send this model to Robot, so that we can analyze, optimize the model, and take back the result into Advanced Steel. We can also export this model to Navisworks, to S360, BIM 360. If you are using advanced steel for the in the oil and gas industry, for example, with Plant 3D, we are able to work with both software together thanks to Xref. So really, advanced steel offers a great interoperability with other Autodesk products. And what I wanted to highlight also is that from this 3D model, we get the documentation automatically. So we get drawings. I mean, we get shop drawings for fabrication, single part drawing, assembly drawings, and we are able to create automatically what we call general arrangement drawings, top views, elevation views, and things like that. We get also bill of materials, and we get NC data, such as NC files, DXF files, and we are also able to drive welding robots like that thanks to XML file created automatically from Advanced Steel. To speed up the modeling phase, you can use Advanced Steel in a single user mode, but it's possible to use it in a multi-user mode. So it gives you the possibility to work on the same model at several users at the same time. So it really helps speeding up the modeling phase. And what is very important also between the model and the documentation is that there is a permanent link between the model and all the documents. So you can use this document manager to have a preview for each document, and Advanced Steel will let you know at any time if a document needs an update or not. And if you need to update, it's done automatically. And for the drawing, you can even ask for an update with a revision, and it creates automatically a revision cloud on the drawing. Okay, so that was just to explain to people who don't know so much Advanced Steel what it does. And now I would like to start giving you some tips and tricks. So we're going to start with how you can customize the user interface. So first of all, I would like to mention tooltips. You know, when you move the cursor over some objects, it's nice to get some more properties of the object. So by default, you just have basic properties like the layer names, the color, things like that, but that's all. But there is a way in Advanced Steel to customize what we call the rollover tooltips. And based on if it's a beam, a plate, a bolt, you can define which properties you would like to get displayed through these tooltips. So you just need to go to the Customize User Interface dialog, Rollover tooltips, and you can specify what you would like to see. And I can show you quickly how it works. So let's take this model. Okay, so it's a 3D model made of columns, beams, steel connections. And if I move my cursor over one of the beam, you see right now I see the color, the layers, the line type, and the weight. But I would like to get access to more properties. So you just have to type CUI, and you get access to the customized user interface. And here on the left, you have the branch, and you have rollover tooltip branch. And here you can ask, I would like to define some specific properties for beams, but you can also have access to other object type. So just press this button, and here if you want to define also something specific, for example, for the plate, you can say I would like also having access to the plate properties. You can ask also, for example, for the ball, for the weld, things like that. Press OK. And now what you can do, so if it's already there, you can define the properties here on the right. So we can see the section class, the profile, but we can ask for more. Maybe I want to see the length also. Why not the painting area? Maybe I would like also to get access to the model role, to the name, things like that. So you can really pick the properties you would like to see in the rollover tooltips. Same thing for the plate. For example, for the plate, I would like to know what is the material for the plate, what is the thickness, what is the weight, the exact weight, things like that. So it's really easy to define, and then you can apply, OK, and now if I move my cursor over a beam, like this one, I should get more information. You see, now I see the painting area, the length, the weight, so I have access, I have a direct access to more information. And now if I move over a plate, I get also access to the thickness, the weight, the exact weight, the material, and things like that. So it's an easy way to have access to the object properties without having to double-click on the beam, for example, getting the dialog open and get access to its properties. You see, because if you want to see all the properties, you have to open the dialog and you have to go through all the tabs and find the right information at the right place. I would like to explain you how you can customize a little bit the tool palettes. In Advanced Steel, we have the ribbon. but we have the possibility to display some tool palettes. So we have a tool palette which contains a lot of possibilities here to copy join, to filter, to search element, things like that. We are using also tool palettes to have access to templates for creating the drawing, like the drawing style tool palette, the drawing process tool palette. We have access also to the bill of material template through a tool palette, and it's possible to customize the way it's displayed. Okay, so you just have to press this button here, and you have access to different settings. For example, you can change the number of columns, you can change the size also, you can change the color, and you can even customize it, move the icon, delete them, add them, and things like that. So I'm going to show you quickly how it works. So if I want to display the tool palette, just in the ribbon here in Home, you have access to advanced tool palettes. So let me move a little bit like that. You will better see on my white screen. So this is a tool palette. By default, I have 3 columns, and you see the size of the icon. And if you go there to settings, you have access to this dialog. So you can change, for example, the number of columns, and you have the range here. It can be from 1 to 4. So you have the minimum, you have the maximum, and if you want to change it to 4, for example, press OK, and automatically you get 4 columns. Now if you want to change a little bit the size, let's reduce a little bit the size from 50 to 40, and you see they look a little bit smaller. So you see that in the first category, but obviously this is the same in all the categories. And if you want to change also the opacity, if you want to change the color, for example, I can change the color which is there to another color. I don't know, maybe some of you prefer the blue, and I can change the blue color like that. Okay, so it's an easy way to customize the tool palette. And I'm just going back to the previous values. So if I want to go back to the previous values, either I'm going to change them like that. Another possibility is it's creating an XML file. So it's a way to share this customization with other users. And it's creating a copy of the XML file. So if you want to go back to the original one, it's just, you just need to rename the modified one to the original one. So let me change back to how it was. Okay. Now, what I wanted to show you also, sorry. So at any time you see you can expand or reduce the size of the tool palette. You can display other tool palettes. Like I told you, you have the drawing style tool palette, for example. You can place it anywhere. Same for the drawing process tool palette. And the good thing is that you can dock them together like that, you see. And then if you want to reduce the size and move them, it's easy to move them in one shot. Okay, so this is an easy way also. And if you want to separate them, it's easy to do it like that. If you want to open them, you can press the plus here, but you can also just double click on it and it's going to open automatically. Okay, and if you double click, it's going to reduce again. Next thing I would like to tell you, to explain you, is about the connection. So Advanced Steel provides a huge library of automatic and periodic connections. This is what we call the connection vault. And you have different categories. You have base plate category, you have beam plate, beam column category, things like that. And Advanced Steel offers a way to place your favorite connections in a favorite group, so that it's easier next time to find the one you are using the most often. Okay? So to do that, it's easy. In the connection vault, when you move your cursor, you get a star which appears here on the right. And press the star, and it's going to duplicate this connection also in the favorite group. And of course, if you want to remove them from the favorite group, there is a way to remove them directly from the favorite group. Or here, if you click again, it's going to be removed from the favorite group. So let me show you how it works. So I'm going to display the connection vault. You can find it here, connection vault, and you get this tool palette. So as the other tool palette, you can move it where you want. And by the way, when you move the cursor over a connection, you see here a preview showing an example of what you can get with this automatic connection. You see also a text description. And you can change a little bit the way you display the tool palette. You see, you can stretch it like that. You can extend the dialog like that also. You can move the picture, you can zoom. And if you do not want to see this on the right, you just reduce the right side of the dialog, okay? And this is the favorites group. So on my side, I have already a few connections which are here. And if I want to add more, for example, this is something very common in my company, you just press the star which is here on the right, and it's going to be added to the favorites group. I can choose something else like, for example, a double purlin heap. And now if I go to the favorites group, you see, this is here. I get the connections which are placed here in my favorites group. So it's easier to have access to a unique category and find your most frequently used connection. And if you want to remove them, it's easy. You just go here and say, I want to remove from the favorites, and they are automatically removed from this category. The next thing I would like to show you, it's not something about customization, I would say, but I would like to show you where you can find some information, some global information on advanced steel. For example, as you may know, some of the automatic steel connection provide the possibility to check the connection according to the AISC code. And there is a way to know which are these steel connections which accept this integrated joint design. And the way to know that is to use the project manager. And something else I would like to mention is the fact that in the dialog box, any text can be customized. So, for example, if you go to the project data user attribute, you have access to different user attributes, user attribute 1, user attribute 2, and so on. And you can customize this text description, you can change it. And to do that, you have to go to the management tools, to the table editor. And it's easy to go to a specific database and change for example, in my case, what was the user attribute 1 to something like my own definition. So I'm going to show you a little bit that. So if you want to access to the project setting dialog, just in the home ribbon, if you go a little bit here on the right, you have access to the project settings. So you can give some information to your project. You can say, I would like to give it this name, this number, and so on. And you have access also to the units, everything about the weight, the length, things like that. But what I want to show you is here, joint design. You know which are the connections which have integrated joint design. So many of them can be checked according to AISC. Some of them can be also checked according to Eurocode, EC3. So it's an easy way to know which one can be checked. And you see we have quite a long list. So for people who don't know what I am saying right now, I can show you an example. Here I have a shear plate connection. I can double click here on the cuboid, and I can access to the properties of this connection. So from the dialog, I can change anything. I can change the plate thickness. I can change also, why not, the ball quantity. Instead of 3, I want only 2, or I go back to 3. And if I go here to joint design, as you can see, it's not calculated yet. So what I can do, I can check it against AISC or EC3. So let's keep AISC. By the way, you can go to settings and you have access to additional settings, like do you want the design code RFD or SD, okay? And you can check it against automatic values. I will say the maximum capacity of the beam, but you can uncheck this and enter by yourself the value you get from the analysis software like Robot, for example. So I can enter, for example, 15, and now I would like to check it. So I'm just pressing the check icon, and automatically Advanced Steel is telling you if it's okay or if it failed. And you see it's in green color, there is no fail verification, so everything is all right. And if you need to see a report, there is the report button which is there, and you have a complete report of what has been calculated. So you have a description of the connection, and you have all the formulas with the values from the connection, and it's ready to be printed and kept with your project. Okay? I cannot show all the points live because if I show everything, I need 12 hours. What I would like to show you now is a management tool. So it's a tool where we can define, where we have access to global settings. So we can customize the way Advanced Steel will handle the documentation, some preferences for the modeling, things like that. And it's a nice way to have access to these settings and to better understand what is behind a default. If you move the cursor, you have also access to some tooltips with some nice example like that. So it's very useful and very easy to understand. You have also access to a filter because you have a long list of global settings. Sorry, so you can use a filter and you just enter what you are looking for. It's going to filter what you search. And I just would like to mention a few defaults which might be good to know. So there are two ways to start the management tools. You can start it from here. There is the icon to start the advanced management tools. Another way, if you are not obliged to launch Advanced Steel, what you can do, you can find it here in all programs, Autodesk, Advanced Steel 2016, and you have also the management tool which is available here. So just start it, and you get it like that. So there are different possibilities which are available and possible with the management tool. I don't want to cover all of them now, but what I want to show you is defaults. So you have different categories like that, settings for the beams, for example, settings for the drawing presentation. And as I told you, if you move the cursor, you see you have a picture like that. And the picture is like a dynamic picture. I mean, you see, this is the default to define how you like to get the balloon around the green label. And thanks to the picture, you can see some different examples with a rectangular balloon, a circular balloon, or no balloon. And then it's easier to define what you would like to get. So a lot of defaults like that, and you can use also the filter. For example, if you are looking for a default about unwrapping tube, just enter wrap, for example, and here you have this one, and this one helps you to define how you want to get the unfolding or circular tube, for example. And what do you want to display? Do you want to get the outer contour? Do you want to have the inner contour? Or do you want to have both of them? So it's easy to understand, and once you understood, it's easy to define and to select the right value here. Okay? Just a few defaults which are good to be known. For example, when you save, because sometimes you would like to save your project as another name, and some people would like to save only the model, but some people would like to save the model and all the corresponding documentation. And for that, there is this default. You can activate or deactivate it, and if it's activated, it will copy model and documents all together when you do file save as. I just would like also to mention the fact that in the management tools you have access to all anchors and bolts delivered by default. So we have, for example, the US edit anchors, and you can customize the library also. So it's really user-friendly with easy-to-use table, pictures. You can define the shape of the anchors, the size of the anchors, you see. You can do the same for the bolts also. So if I go to the bolts editor, you have access to a long library of international bolts, and I can pick any of them, something like that. You see, you can define if you want to have a washer, a nut, or not. You can define the bolt size, and you can define the hole also. And for example, if you go to this one, you see you can really define the shape of the hole. So depending on the bolt size and shape, you have the corresponding hole, and you can define all the settings for these holes. So a very useful tool, these management tools. The next thing I would like to mention quickly is how can I know which version I'm using and how can I know with which version I save my file. So to know which version you are using, it's quite easy. There is an about dialog where you can know which version of Advanced Steel you are using. So on my side, I'm using the 2016 R2. I know the build number, I know the build date. If you want to know for which country you install Advanced Steel, because you know Advanced Steel is available in English and in other languages also, And when you install it in English, you can install it in US for the US, you can install it in Australian for Australia, in UK for UK, things like that. But sometimes you don't remember which installation you have chosen. So if you go to the project data preference, you see what installation you have chosen for Advanced Steel. Okay, it's a way to know it. Now, if you want to have some more information about your files, I'm going to show you how to have access to that. You can go to what I'm going to do. I'm going to the Explorer, okay, and I'm going to show you the properties of the file. So this is the file that I just opened. So just make a right click and ask for properties on the file. Oh, okay. And there is this custom tab, and this is where you can find with which version you saved this file the last time. So this might be interesting because you get a file from one of your colleagues or from one of your customer, and you don't know if he saved it with 2015 or 2016 or whatever. So it's a nice way to have access to this information. Okay, so let's go now to the modeling phase. So as I said at the beginning, because Advanced Steel is working on the top of AutoCAD, this is exactly the same spirit for creating elements. I can create lines and convert lines to beams. I can create arcs and convert these arcs to curved beams. I can even create polyline and create polylines to polybeams. Okay? So I'm not going to show you that, it's obvious, but it exists. And there are some other possibilities, such as create a polyline, something like that, and convert it automatically to a folded beam. And by the way, you can get it unfolded automatically on drawings and NC files. There are some ways also to create grating. We have a complete catalog of international gratings available in Advanced Steel. They can be rectangular, they can be circular, they can be polygonal. But when it's a complex shape, you can first create a polyline and convert it to a grating. And we have also some possibilities in Advanced Steel to have, for example, a rectangle, a circle, and to create a transition, which is a square round transition between the rectangle and the circle. So I'm going to show you some of these possibilities. I'm going to open a different file. I would like to use this one. So you see, this is the section I would like to create. So this is a polyline. It's already a polyline. And in Advanced Steel, there is a tool to create a folded beam from a polyline. So you just press the icon, and as you may see here in the command line, you have different options. You can start from a polyline, so this is what I'm going to do, but you could start from a circle or from an arc. So let's go for a polyline, P like polyline, and I'm going to pick the polyline. Okay, and now I need to say, to specify a central point, and I need to say also the length for this folded beam, so I can say I want to create it from this point to this point, and automatically you see the folded beam is created. So this is a nice way to create such element. So of course I can change it like that so that you better see the result. And after you have access to this dialog box, so you can change anything. You have access to some standard thickness. You can enter also thickness by yourself. You can specify if you want to have the folded beam inside or outside the polybeam. You can even add some values to get some radius here. You see, I'm not sure if it's possible. It's visible. Yeah, it's visible on the screen. Okay. So you see, you have some numbers: 1, 2, 3, 4. And for example, the number 4, which is here, if you want to have a radius like that, you just enter the value and you get a radius automatically. So this is really to create and really easy to modify. And even more, you can go to display type, and you can say, I would like to see it exactly, but with the possibility to modify the section. And now if I pick it, I have some grips. And it's easy to modify. If you want to stretch it a little bit like that, you can do it easily. Okay? Another example with converting a polyline to a grating. So imagine you have a platform like that, a circular platform, and I would like to add some grating on the top of this platform. So just to save some time, here you see I created a polyline. This is a polyline, so I'm going to pick it. And in advanced steel, to create some grating, so you have different possibilities which are here. Okay, you can create rectangular standard grating, variable grating, and here you have access to a command to create a grating from a polyline. So I'm just going to pick the command, and automatically the polyline is converted to a grating. And in the dialog box, I'm going to move that a little bit so that you better see. It's easy to define if you want it on the top of the beam or under the beam. It's easy to define the thickness if you want to change it. And again, you have access to a complete catalog of grating. And by the way, in advanced steel, there is a possibility to extend or shorten a little bit this grating afterwards. If you use this possibility, shrink or expand poly plate, so you have to pick the plate, okay? And you can enter a value which can be negative or positive. So if I enter, for example, something like 1, it's going to be bigger. And if I enter a negative value, it's going to be smaller. So it's a nice way to change the shape afterwards. Oh, I would like to show you the transition also. So let me go back here. So as you can see here, I have a rectangle which is there, and I have a circle. And in advanced steel, there is a specific command which is there. You can say I want to start from the contour which is there, okay? I want to select on the other side this circle, and then you get a dialog box. And here you can define the number of facets because it's going to create some facets. For example, 24. You can define the thickness. Do you want to have it outside, inside of this contour? Press OK, and you get something like that which is created automatically. And you can get it unfolded also automatically on drawings and on NC files. Okay? So let's continue. Okay, so just a few words about additional possibilities in advanced steel. Sometimes in your project, you need to fabricate a beam, a member, a little bit shortened or a little bit longer than the theoretic value. And we have this possibility in advanced steel to enter what we call a shrink value. And again, this value can be positive or negative. Positive, it will shorten the beam. Negative, it will extend the beam. It does not have any effect in the model, but this value will be taken in consideration for the drawings, for the bill of material, and for the NC files. Another tool which is great to know also if you are doing some tubular steel structure, if you create the model like that and you would like to define a specific gap, but really you would like to define and to enter the exact value you would like to set between the tubes, there is a tool in advanced steel to do that automatically. So I'm going to show you how it works. Okay, so this is just a simple example. You see I have a truss like that, I have some members, I have some diagonals, and here I need to give a short offset, you see? So in advanced steel, if you go back to the advanced steel tool palette, if you go there, you will find this possibility. There is a beam clearance tool. And what you can do, so we're going to do it for the first diagonal. You need to select the first member, the second member, the third one, and now we have to enter the value. So I can enter 2 so that it's really visible. And you see it's offset automatically of 2. So this is really a great tool to offset elements. And the other point on the other side stays at the same location. It's only the one I select which is moved. So let's do it again here. Selecting this beam, this one, the diagonal, and I'm going to enter 2 again. And you see it's done automatically. So nice tool for structural steel structures. Yes, please.
Is it created as a truss or is it just individual beams?
Oh, for this exercise, I created that as individual elements. Yes, but in advanced steel, you have some automatic tools to create joists or trusses. Yeah, there are different tools for that. I'm going to skip this point because I'm late already. So just to explain you that in Advanced Steel, you can create rectangular plate, polygonal plate, and there is a specific command also to create a circular plate, okay? So it's really easy to define. You just enter the diameter, outside diameter, inside diameter, thickness. And if you want to create some balls or some hole, there is a switch which is there, okay? And you can create them along a circle. So you just enter the value for the radius. And then in the dialog, it's easy to change the hole type. So they can be circular, round circular, but they can be slotted also. And this is how you get some slotted round hole on a circular plate. Just quickly on the tool palette, if you click this icon, it opens another tool palette which is specific for building. It's like a building generator. So it may be very useful for people doing commercial buildings, industrial buildings. I can show you quickly. So on this tool palette, just go there, and if you scroll down, you get this icon, building generator, and you have access to a separate tool palette. 3 categories. In the first one, you have all the tools to create a grid. You have the different tools to create portal frame, to create bracing, to create purlins also. In the second category, you have all specific connections for connecting portal frame, base plates, things like that, bracing also. And in the third category, you have all the tools for creating and connecting purlins and side rails. Now I would like to show you a little bit how you can display a connection, a specific connection, and what are the tools to isolate it from the model. So I'm going to show you that through the model view. In Advanced Steel, there are some possibilities to create some model views. It can be an elevation view, a top view, but it can be just a view on a specific connection. And then, thanks to AutoCAD possibility, you can display a connection with different viewports. So I can ask for a side view, a front view, and a 3D view of the same connection. I'm going to show you how it works. So I would like to go back to this model. Let's take this one, for example. So first, I would like to display the cuboid of this connection. So with a right-click, Advanced Join Properties, I get access to the dialog box where I can define the connection and all individual elements. And I get the cuboid, which is displayed now. So now what I would like to do is to show you how I can display the Project Explorer. Okay? And there are some possibilities here to create model views. So I just go and say create new model view. I can define a point, for example, or 2 points. I can specify a grid line and create a view from this grid line. And you have here the possibility to create a view from a join box. So this is what I'm going to use now. I would like to create a view from this connection. I can give it a name, you see. So it's my AU connection, for example. So just give it a name. And now you get some arrows. And you just need to pick the arrow, which is your view direction, I would say. So maybe I would like to see it like that from the front. So you just pick the arrow and press enter. And you see it appears here. This is my model view I just created. And now if you want to display it and only it, you just click on the bubble which is there, and now you see only this connection. Okay, so it's a nice way to isolate, create your own model view and display them. And you see the size is as it is, but there are some possibilities to pick the box. And if you want to stretch it a little bit, you see it's easy to do it like that. So you can do it horizontally, you can do it also vertically. It's really easy to stretch and to get something smaller or bigger. Also, if you go to View and Viewport Configuration, I have only one viewport at the moment. But you can create 2 vertical viewports, you can create 3 vertical viewports. So let's go for this one. And here, for example, I can see it like that. Maybe this view, I would like to see it from the back. And maybe this one, I would like to see it from the top. You see, it's easier to see your connection like that. And again, if you want to stretch the box and make it a little bit bigger, it's easy to do it like that. Okay? By the way, you have the possibility to take that and stretch a little bit the viewport if you want to do so. Okay? And now it's easy to make a right click, go to the advanced join properties and make some changes. For example, if you want to go to stiffeners and instead of both you want none, then you see in all the view you get no stiffeners. If you want to get them on the top or bottom or both sides, it's easy to control. Okay? And if you want to go back to a single viewport, just choose a single. And if you want to see everything again, just go back to the Project Explorer and unselect that, and everything is back on my screen. Okay? Railing macro. Advanced Steel provides automatic tools for stairs and railings. So we have specific macro for stairs, for railing, for cage ladder, and so with a lot of possibilities as you can see in the dialog box. And there are two things I would like to highlight here. You can move the post individually, and you can also change the size of the railing thanks to grip points. So let me show you that quickly. I think I need 2 hours to show you everything today. So I'm going to create some railing here on the top of my platform. So in Advanced Steel, you can find the railing tool which is there. So I'm going to pick some beams where I want to create the railing. I'm going to say I want to start the railing, for example, from the top of the column, and maybe I would like to end it here at the middle of the beam, and you see you get a railing which is created automatically. Okay? So I'm going to speed up a little bit, but you see you can access to the post individually, and if you give a distance here, something like 5, you see this one is moved of 5. If you go to the next one and you say -2, for example, this one is moved of -2. So it's great because you can control the distance for the post individually. And what I would like to show you also is that you see you have these grips, this grip which is there, which is like a small sphere, and you can take it and you can move it. So if you want to extend your railing to the top of the column, just take the sphere, move it, and the railing is extended automatically. In Advanced Steel, we have some tools for stairs also. Here, I just would like to mention that you can create stairs, and if you want to move it, you just have to display the cuboid which is there, and for that you have to be in a 2D wireframe visual style. And now it's easy to move it, it's easy to copy it, and it's a nice way to create some switch stairs also, because you can create one of them, copy it, rotate it, move it, and you get something like that quite easily. Now I would like to mention the model browser. The model browser is a nice way to get direct access to object properties. And in this dialog box, you can add some columns like that. You can also remove columns. You can edit properties. So it's an easy way to modify some properties without having to go to each element individually. Some tools to help display some parts of the model or to check yourself. We have some tools to display, for example, only a selected assembly. We have some tools to see what these bolts are bolting, for example, or what a weld is welding. And we have some tools to filter. For example, we can find which are the parts which are loose parts in my model. So let me show you quickly how it works. So for example, I'm going to take this column, okay? I just pick one member of this column, and if I display the tool palette again, here you will find the possibility to show only the selected assembly. So I just pick the icon, and only the selected assembly is displayed on my screen. So it's a nice way to verify yourself, the column and all welded parts which are shop welded to this column. So you see the base plate, the stiffener, and all gusset plate. And if you want to redisplay all again, you just press all visible icon, and you get all displayed again. Okay? Now, if you want to check what are bolting these bolts, for example, you just need to go there and use this tool. I want to display connected object by these bolts, and you get the parts in red color. Okay? If you want to remove the red color, just press this one, clear marked object. And if you would like to check something else like here, I want to check these bolts, what they are bolting, and it shows me in red color what is connected automatically by these bolts. Okay? Now if you want to display all loose parts, you just need to go there, and you have the icon which is there. I want to mark in red color in my model which are the loose parts. Okay, so it tells you, and then you see them in red color. So you see all parts which have no weld at shop, I would say. Okay, so it's an easy tool to find loose parts.
So, Philip,
yes.
Those loose parts are not the ones that are welded. So,
yeah.
Even the welded ones?
They have no weld at shop and no bolt at shop. It's like a purlin, so you just cut it, drill it, and send it for painting. There is no need to send it for welding to someone in the shop. So it's a way to know that. Okay, so now let's go for the documentation with some tips and tricks. First, to create the drawing, bill of material, things like that, you have to use some templates. So there are some templates delivered by default. If you install Advanced Steel for the US market, you have access to US templates, but you may want to access to templates from other countries. And this is possible in Advanced Steel. You can have access to templates from Australia, from UK, from Germany, from different countries. And to do that, I don't know if I have the time, you have to go to the control. I'm going to show you quickly how to do that. So you have to go to control panel, okay? You have to say, I would like to install or uninstall Advanced Steel. You can select Advanced Steel 2016, say I would like to uninstall or change it. I hope I'm not breaking my Advanced Steel. And I'm going to choose to add or remove features. And here you see you have access to additional drawing styles. So you may want to have drawing styles for Italy, for example. So you just select them, update, and they will appear in Advanced Steel. Okay? So I'm not doing that right now, I'm canceling that. And as a result, if you want to have access to them, you need to go there to Tools, choose this dialog Country Settings, and this is where you can select them to have them available or not. And once they are selected, if you display a tool palette like the one for the drawing styles, if I expand it, so right now this is the US template with different categories, but if you want to access to, for example, the UK templates, you just pick UK and you see everything is loading UK specific templates. And if you customize the drawing style, they are going to be available in what we call the user branch, and in this case you just go here, say user, and you have access to your own customized drawing styles. Just some additional tools. For example, sometimes you would like to know if you created the shop drawings for all your parts or not, and if not, which are the parts which have not been detailed yet. And there is a way to know that. It's using the model browser, adding a column which is going to give you the drawing number, and for parts which have no drawing number, it means the drawing has not been created yet. Okay? An easy way to open the drawing for a specific part, you select the part, right-click, and if the drawing is already created, you can directly open the single part drawing of this part or the assembly drawing of this part. Just something about the layer and the color of your elements on drawing. So you can create shop drawings, you can create also general arrangement drawing, and you can control the color of the elements on your drawing. And if you want to have the same color between the model and the drawing, it's easy. You just have to activate two settings, create the view, and it's going to use the same layer and therefore the same color as in the model. So let me show you how it works. So to create a 3D view of this model, I'm going to the drawing styles tool palette. I'm going to use one of the templates which is available here, like this one. So in the dialog, you can specify the scale, you can specify your title, you can specify many things, but let's go for it. And I'm going to choose a specific drawing file. I can give it a name, for example, GA1, press OK, and it's going to create automatically the 3D view of my model on the templates. So it just takes a few seconds. That's it. And now, if you want to see the result, you just have to go to the document manager, and here you will find all the drawing. You will find the GA1, and you can just preview the content. And this is what you get automatically. And if you want to open the drawing, just press the Open Drawing button, and this is what has been created. And you see, if I move the cursor over the beam here, so it says color by layer, and this is the same color as the one I have in the model. And to do that, as I said in the slide, you just have to activate two defaults, this one and this one. I'm sorry, I have to speed up. I have so many things to tell you again. Sometimes you create some CAD entities in your 3D model, for example, a rectangle or a circle, and sometimes you have the surprise that they do not appear on your drawing. And to get them appear on your drawing, it's easy. You just need to select them before. And if you select them before creating the view, they will appear on your drawing. Okay? Let me show you quickly how it works. So I'm going to close this view, this drawing. Okay, so you remember here we have this circle, we have this rectangle. So as I said, I'm going to select first. I'm going to create a view. And by the way, I can say I don't want to see everything. Here I can say I want to define myself the viewport. Okay, something like that. I'm going to press OK. I can say on the same prototype, I'm going to create the GA2. OK. And now I can also select exactly what I want to display on my drawing. So just make a window selection like that. And as a result, if I go to the document manager, I have the GA1, and now I have the GA2. And I'm not sure it will be really visible for you, so I can open the drawing. But you see, you have the circle which is there, and you have the rectangle which is there. So you have to select them first to get them on the drawing. About the document manager, when you have a lot of drawing like that, maybe you would like to sort them. And you have some possibilities. With a right click, you can sort them according to the file name, according to the title, to the drawing style. So you have some tools to filter them. You have the possibility also to move a view from a drawing to another one. So it's quite easy, just drag and drop a view from a drawing to another one, and this view will be moved automatically. And you can open one drawing one by one, just select it and press the open drawing, or select it and double click. But you can also open several drawings at the same time. So this can be very useful also to compare drawings, for example. So this is a way you can move a view from a drawing to another one. And there is a way to copy also a view from a drawing to another one. So you cannot do it through the document manager. You have to open the two drawings. You have to select the view with the green frame, copy, Control-C, and in the destination drawing, you just paste it, and you get the view which is copied from a drawing to another one. About the drawing cleanup, different possibilities I wanted to mention here. Sorry, I thought someone was asking something. You can use the match properties for most of the elements within a drawing. So it helps speed up also the way you want to change, for example, the line types, the color of element, things like that. When you label elements, you can type M and label multiple elements in one shot. When you create a cut view, you can press R like request and have access to some specific drawing styles also. When you insert a label, you may want to have access to additional information, and for that you can use the label content manager. So I'm going to show you quickly how it works. So let me show you, for example, on this drawing. Okay. So what you can do if you want to change, for example, the color. So I can go on this beam and I can say I want to change it, for example, I don't know if it's a good choice, but to red color. I want to change this one to red color. Maybe this one, I would like to see the hidden line, something like that. So you see, you can do it one by one. But as I said, you can also use the match properties command. and I want to match the properties from this one to, for example, this one, and this one, okay? And I want to match the properties from this one to this one, and why not this one, okay? So we do it in 2 steps, and now what you need to do is to update the view so that everything I just asked as hidden lines or match properties from elements to elements is done automatically by Advanced Style. So it's going to update the view. You see the progression bar at the bottom. It's going to take a few seconds. And sorry, I moved the mouse by error. But you see the result. Everything has been updated. So now I see the hidden lines here for these beams. And what I ask as red color with the match properties command has been assigned to the other beam. Okay, so it's some quick tools to adjust the drawing afterwards. Okay, and I would like to finish with some of the new features from recent release. The first one I would like to mention here is a work area. So it might happen when you are doing some huge project, you would like to reduce the display to a specific area. It helps improve performances, it helps improve what you see. So for that, we have the work area, which is very useful and very powerful to be used. So if I come back to this model, you see here, if I want to display only some elements, so just let me remove the cubes. So there are some filter tools here. I can say I don't want to see the cubes like that. Okay. So I would like to start displaying just a part of my upper platform. And if you go to view, here you have some tools to create a work area. So I'm just going to define, in fact you just define it like a box. So I can say I would like to start from the endpoint which is there. I would like to see something which is nearest that, okay? And now I have to define the level of details for the rest of the model. So I can say low. And as you can see, I see that because this is what is part of my work area, and the rest of the model is in level of detail low. And the good thing is that you can change the work area afterwards. So like the model view, it has some grips. Oh, sorry, it has some grips like that. Sorry, I don't want to move it. I just want to extend it. So you see, you can stretch it like that. Okay, I can see more elements like that. I can also extend it like that. So you can really extend what you want to see inside this box. You can define also the way elements outside this box are displayed. It can be low, it can be medium with plates, okay? And if you double click on it, you still have access to the information. So it's great because you cannot modify it, but you still have information to this element. And there are some tools where you can really see what is part of the work area or see everything. And if you want to get rid of the work area, you just pick it, delete it, and you are back to everything. Next thing I would like to show you is a way to create beams in a continuous way. So I'm going to show you now how it works. So I'm taking again this model. You see I have some diagonal which are missing there. And what I'm going to do is to show you this command, continuous beam, you see? So you can say I want, for example, to insert a diagonal from this point to this one, and there, and there, and there. So you see it's very easy to insert the beams in a continuous way. And when you press escape, then the dialog box appears, and you can say I would like to have some circular section, and I would like to have some pipe which have this size, for example. And then I get my beams which have been created automatically. This is the last point. What I would like to show you is how you can export your Advanced Style model to Navisworks. I'm going to show you now how it works. Oops, sorry. So let's use this nice model, this big model. So I'm going to save it. And what you have to do, you just have to go here, and there is the icon to export to Navisworks. So, do you have any questions? I'm sorry. I'm not sure we have so much time for the questions. I hope I did not go so fast. So take your time to fill the survey. If you appreciated these tips and tricks, fill the survey as you like to do it. Don't forget that if you did not have the time to take some notes, you can go to autodeskuniversity.com. My presentation, my handout are available there, so feel free to download and to practice them. If you have some questions, we are present at the answer bar also, which is in front of the exhibit hall. We have some specialists here who are able to answer your advanced question. Just finish on time. Thank you.